Saturday morning, April 3rd, 2021. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Saturday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Saturday morning, so let's get started. First up, let's take a look at your COVID-19 numbers in New Hampshire right now. And here is a look at those COVID-19 numbers in New Hampshire right now. There are 85,010 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. There are 1,245 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire, and there are 85 current number of hospitalizations for COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And that is a look at your COVID-19 numbers in New Hampshire. Current COVID-19 cases continue to rise in New Hampshire. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Every family runs out of space.
Come on, Kate. I need to get in there. I'll be out in a minute. Come on. You're so annoying.
When you're buying or selling a home, it all starts with having the right agent by your side.
Hello?
It's Michelle from the Masiello Group. I've got some great news.
Experience quality. Masiello.com.
There are no new coronavirus deaths to report in New Hampshire tonight, but there are 410 new cases and 85 people in the hospital. When it comes to vaccinations, the last 3 days have each seen more than 10,000 people get their first doses. More than a third of Granite Staters have had at least one shot, with 17% now fully vaccinated.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire's D.C. delegation reacts to Friday killing of U.S. Capitol Police officer. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Their reviews? Our reviews.
I'm so happy.
Find out what we're all about at adamvroofing.com.
We've heard from the chief of the U.S. Capitol Police that the suspect approached the barrier, crashed into two police officers, then got out of his car with a knife, lunged at the officers, and then the officers returned fire. The suspect was shot and later died at the hospital, and one of those officers also succumbed to his injuries. It's very early in the investigation. Investigators are trying to figure out exactly what happened here. They're going through the scene. They're trying to piece together evidence, and they're trying to understand the background of this suspect. We know that the Capitol Police Chief has asked congressional leaders, has asked the Appropriations Committee and others, to take active steps here to increase physical security around the Capitol. The police chief has basically said they need to increase the physical barriers around the Capitol complex in order to keep congressional leaders secure, and that the security measures that had been in place before the riot just weren't sufficient at this point, given the number of threats that they've been seeing. But obviously, this has been a major point of debate between congressional Democrats and Republicans and others, especially those who live around the Capitol. We've heard from the D.C. delegate to the House of Representatives that this fencing has to come down, that it's disruptive to the people who live around the Capitol. And, I think there is an agreement on both sides, from Democrats and Republicans, at least in the leadership, that the Capitol can't be militarized. So this is certainly going to be a point for debate for all of them.
Okay, and there you go on that video, and here is what New Hampshire's D.C. delegate said. Take a look. And if you want to read this again, we will share it with you on the Riley King Network Facebook page after the broadcast. Churches prepare for Easter services with safety precautions. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
For the easy and the complex, the small stuff and the big, we're here with the affordable local loans, easy to manage accounts, and financial advice to help you blaze a trail, figure stuff out, and make your money go farther. We're Granite State Credit Union. Live bold.
For most churches, this will be the first time the doors are open on Easter since 2019. The state now allows churches at 100% capacity, but many cannot have that many people attending because of social distancing requirements.
We've had to be, cautious, and we've certainly wanted to keep people healthy and safe.
St. Joseph Cathedral in Manchester is adding a Sunday Mass to accommodate more people at different times. Catholic churches have been open since the end of May last year, with the diocese making changes to traditions like spacing and screening the congregation, hymnals removed from pews, no holy water in fonts, the sign of peace, a time to shake hands, suspended, limited singing, and live streams.
We just want to be good citizens, and we're certainly not looking to see people get sick with regards to COVID. But I think all in all, we've done a pretty good job.
Next Level Church in Pembroke is asking people to register for Easter service.
We wanted to make sure that as best as we could, that we didn't have to turn anybody away, because there is a maximum occupancy that we have with the restrictions.
Easter will be the first in-person services here since November. The church had reopened briefly last year, but closed when cases rose in the state.
Even if there are some people who don't feel comfortable being in church in person again, we still have our online experiences.
Jean Mackin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. With broader vaccination eligibility, some say they want to be able to choose their vaccine. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
For the easy and the complex, the small stuff and the big, we're here with the affordable local loans, easy to manage accounts, and financial advice to help you blaze a trail, figure stuff out, and make your money go farther. We're Granite State Credit Union. Live bold.
Rebecca Troop's 18-year-old son made a vaccine appointment first thing Friday morning.
He really felt the need to try and get back to normal life.
He's also been part of the AstraZeneca double-blind trial for months, although that vaccine has not been approved in the U.S.
When actually the fall came and the local AstraZeneca trials occurred, he came to my husband and myself, and to his father and to his stepmother, and announced that he wanted to take part in the trial because he felt it was his responsibility.
He plans on calling AstraZeneca to see if he actually got the vaccine or if it was a placebo, to figure out if he'll keep his appointment with the state. Rebecca also has a 14-year-old son who will be vaccinated once it's deemed safe for his age.
Whichever one he would be eligible for, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't vaccinate him to keep him and to keep the public safe.
But for some, the ability to choose which vaccine they get is important.
I don't think we should have to take what is, just available, that we should be able to make that choice.
And because of that, this 67-year-old woman who does not want to be identified is choosing to wait.
I think I'm just going to wait it out for a little while and see what other information comes out. I'm just being very careful and doing the protocols that are out there and hoping for the best.
The state says they would consider giving people the option to choose their own vaccine once federal allotments of vaccine increase and are more consistent. Reporting in Nashua, Christine Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Some school districts look for more guidance as state orders 5 days of in-person learning. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Home team, home cooking, and the joy of being homeward bound. The best things in life start with home, and there's no one more trusted than Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate to help move into the right home or move on from your current home. Expect better. Start by calling or contacting Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate, the Massiello Group, www.massiello.com, 800-741-1540.
SAU 67, which includes Bow and Dunbarton, has had most of its students in person since March 15th.
We took the DHHS guidance that came out that allowed us to do that.
The only exception, high schoolers, who currently have a flex day, which allows for student-teacher meetings, club activities, or time for students to catch up on their studies.
We haven't seen the written order from the governor, what he means by schools being in 5 days a week. But I know there are a lot of districts around who have implemented some sort of flex day. So when we see the written guidance, we'd like to see if we can still do the flex day.
Here in Litchfield, students have had in-person classes 5 days a week since September with a remote option.
Approximately 20% of our families have chosen to have a remote experience this year.
Superintendent Mike Jetty says the district has followed COVID-19 guidelines, including distancing and masks. There have been times schools needed to pivot to remote, but Jetty says for the most part, in-person learning has been a success.
It really is a district-by-district situation unique to the current conditions that are on the ground. So I feel fortunate that we've been able to do it.
Now, there is a waiver process that schools can submit for, but the governor's office says those waivers will only be approved in extreme circumstances if the lives of teachers and students are at risk. A remote option will remain for families that are more comfortable with that. Reporting live tonight, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Officer killed in vehicle attack at the Capitol. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on a very busy Friday night. I'm Lindsay Davis in for David. A lot to get to tonight, and we begin with that deadly attack at the Capitol after a man drove onto the Capitol grounds, plowing into two Capitol police officers, then getting out and threatening them with a knife. Officers opening fire, killing the driver. But sadly tonight, one of the Capitol officers has also lost his life. The blue sedan coming to a stop against a security barrier. Investigators there pouring over the scene. Other Capitol police officers responding to the violent intrusion, as well as an immediate response force from the D.C. National Guard. Capitol workers ordered to shelter in place. A helicopter seen landing outside of a window. Officer William Billy Evans rushed to the hospital, but he could not be saved. A solemn procession seen escorting his body from the hospital. And at the Capitol, the flag lowered to half-staff once again, less than 3 months after the Capitol siege. ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas leads us off tonight from the Capitol.
Tonight, another deadly attack at the U.S. Capitol. Authorities say a man slammed this car into a security checkpoint along Constitution Avenue.
The suspect rammed his car into two of our officers and then hit the north barricade barrier. At such time, the suspect exited the vehicle with a knife in hand. Our officers then engaged that suspect. He did not respond to verbal commands.
One of the officers was fatally wounded in the encounter, and the suspect fatally shot.
When he exited the vehicle, the knife was clearly in his hand, and he did start to run toward the officers.
Officer William Billy Evans, an 18-year veteran, was pronounced dead at George Washington University Hospital. A solemn procession, a line of police cars and motorcycles, taking his body to the city medical examiner. The incident came with the Capitol still haunted by the echoes of the January 6th insurrection. Reacting to the emergency, the D.C. National Guard deployed an emergency response force. Soldiers and airmen sent in support of the Capitol Police. Inside, people told to shelter in place.
No entry or exit is permitted at this time in any building of the Capitol complex. You may move throughout the building, but stay away from exterior windows and doors.
Law enforcement urgently working tonight to determine motive. Sources identifying the suspect as Noah Green, described as an African-American male in his 20s.
It does not appear that he is known to the Capitol Police or the Metropolitan Police Department at this time.
Tonight, President Biden ordering flags lowered to half staff, releasing a statement saying he's, quote, heartbroken over the attack. Another horrific day for the Capitol Police, who lost Officer Brian Sicknick less than 3 months ago after that vicious mob attacked the Capitol.
I ask you to please keep the United States Capitol Police family in your thoughts and prayers at this time. It has been an extremely difficult and challenging year for us.
Difficult to say the least. Pierre Thomas joins us now from the Capitol. And Pierre, officials are still searching for a motive in this deadly attack, but authorities say at this time it does not appear to be terrorism related.
Lindsay, tonight here at the crime scene, authorities say no obvious ties to terrorism so far. But we're told they're dissecting this young man's life, looking at every angle, including all of his recent communications and associations. It's early, Lindsay, so nothing is concrete.
Still very early. Pierre, our thanks to you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the...
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And thank you for watching this morning newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a wonderful day, everyone, and see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.